Hey folks, welcome back. Today we're going to talk thermal expansion using Thermal Expansion 3. That's on the Minecraft 1.6.4 that has been running, the mod. So again, very quick videos, just pointing out some of the things, get you up and running, so you can come back and review it if you need to. With thermal expansion, if you're familiar, there's been a few changes. If you're not familiar, let's take a look. All of the machines, first off, if we go ahead and right click on them, let me close my interface here with O. I'll show you the tabs. First off, we take a look. We have it'll tell us the power usage that we're using, and also how much power is coming out and how much is stored up, because each of these machines will store some energy. We can decide if it needs a redstone signal or not. Or to ignore one if there happens to be one by for a different machine, something of that nature. Now, the configuration is the main part that we're taking a look at. We can customize where it's going to input and output on the different faces. And if we hold down our shift key and right click, we can turn them all off real easy. And then come back and decide blue, if you'll notice here on a standard furnace, is going to be our input. So if we want to instead, if we input on top, you'll notice it even appears there. Take a look at the side here, it's blank because I'm going to change that. Let's say instead of accepting from the top, we want to accept from the side. Now you'll notice it has the configuration there. So let's say we're inputting from the top, and then we'll input or exit from the side. Orange, of course, is the exit on that. Now, if we have something that can output two different things, pulverizer is how you double your metal. You put your ore in here and you'll get the pulverized metals here. Again, if I shut that down, we'll have the ore coming in. And then we have two outputs because we have the top one, which is your main output, but also there's a small percentage of chance of other metals coming off. So, for example, if you were to pulverize ferrous metal, you have a 10% chance to get some shiny metal, which is very nice. So you can put those in two different directions. I never do, I'll be honest. I always send all my stuff out together, because what I do is I end up pairing these two together, the furnace and the pulverizer side by side. The next one I wanted to cover was the induction smelter. This one has space for two inputs and two outputs. Again, I tend to combine these. I just put them all into a chest, and you could just put a chest right next to it. It'll shove it right into it. As far as the two inputs, I use my induction smelter a lot for making hardened glass, which is pulverized obsidian and lead, and that's why the two inputs. But you can also use this instead of the pulverizer to double your output. You can put like sand and iron, and it'll double the output as well on that. Battling a bit of a head cold here, so bear with me. I did want to point out on the magma crucible, there is one change here. I got to pull up my NEI to show you, and if we find my magma crucible, the recipe's changed a little bit here. They now have the leadstone energy cell frame in there, and you can make that without needing anything special. It's just lead in the corners, your standard glass. It accepts other kinds of glass, and then 9 pieces of redstone, formed into a block. So that's the frame itself. It's not too rough, but that recipe did change a little bit. We also have our fluid transposer. I believe this went through a name change. This is the same thing to take any of your frames that you have, like for example your redstone energy cell, the frame itself, if we need to fill it with the redstone to make the energy cell. If I go here to the next one, if I put those frames up there, to be able to get the redstone into it, this is what you're going to use, is a fluid transposer. So you put your magma crucible next to it, put your redstone in there, the redstone turns into liquid, and you output it, you put it side by side, and then that'll fill that. The last time I wanted to cover is a new item that they've made. It's the energetic infuser. Now, the energetic infuser what this does is this charges anything that requires a power source. So for example, your powered armor, things of that nature, you can use this to charge them up, and it'll use the energy. The other quick items I want to cover on this one without going too long, and then maybe we'll break into a second video. Our engine names have changed. They're no longer called engines, they're called dynamos. Same thing though. This is your steam one, so again, that's just your coal and water, just like it was before, like their steam engines that they used to call them. Now, I've got back here for water, I have the aqueous accumulator. Remember, that's the one, if you put the water on either side, it pulls water out endlessly. So I'm using it to cool. Sorry, not to cool, but to provide the water for the steam on this one. Now, I have these turned off just because I wanted to show you the different ones. So this is your standard. This makes your coal lasts much, much longer. In front of them here, I've simply got the leadstone energy cells, the smallest of the batteries, just to have something hooked up. I'm using the leadstone conduits. There's different tiers of the conduits now, and as far as the pipes go, there's two types of pipes. There's the opaque fluid ducts and the standard fluid ducts. The opaque ones you'll end up using out of the gate because they're just cheaper to make, but everybody loves the standard fluid ducts because you can see the stuff inside. Alright, so if you can go steam, but also you'll be going with if you need your magmatic dynamo, this is the ones that run on lava. So if I take my crescent hammer, put some lava in here, as it fills up and runs from there. Now up here, what I'm using is the portable tanks that I love so much, and they have different tiers of those as well. So you can get into the small ones. This is the hardened. It's the second tier up, and you'll notice that it holds 16 buckets of fluid. One bucket is 1,000. Sorry about that. One bucket is 1,000. So that holds 16. Alright, so the next engines that we get to, I haven't really used a whole lot. Usually I'm either going steam or lava. And then I usually transfer into something else. But this is now going to be my new next transfer. This is the compression dynamo. And this is the one where you get to use any of your liquid fuels. So your oil out there and things of that nature, your biomass, all of that can be burned in this. This is the dynamo that they're using for it. And it does have to be cooled. It will not explode like the Buildcraft engines once upon a time. Let me give it a redstone signal and let it fire up at that point. You can tell it's on because of the light on the side there. So like this one, I had it turned off. Now if we turn it on, see how the red light? Okay. So this one will take a little bit to get going, and we'll go from there. Now the last one I wanted to cover is the reactant dynamo. It's where you put two different things in to get your energy. So like in this case, I'm using creosote oil, and in the reactant, that the solid fuel part, the oil by itself will not work. You have to have two parts. So in this case, I used a piece of sugar in there, and it will go ahead and combine the two. It'll use a little bit of my creosote oil and go from there. Now I'm showing you the creosote and the sugar because that's again one of those two things I like to farm because of my railcraft. I tend to have tons of the creosote oil, and then of course the sugar cane for my paper and sugar and things of that nature. Last thing I wanted to cover here, let me set back to daytime, is the machinist workbench. This is also in thermal expansion. So if we take a look at, it's much like those tables that I used to love that I believe was in the Red Power. So what happens is you got your standard crafting bench here, right? But you also have, you can put schematics on here and teach it to do things. So first off, if I just take a standard, you'll notice standard table, I can clear it with just the push of a button. But also you notice it has an inventory here. So if I have all my stuff here, it'll pull it up to do the recipe, which is very, very nice. So for example, also if I put my cobblestone right here, I can just keep pulling them out, and you'll notice it just pulls from my inventory. Now the other thing that's nice about it is you can make schematics to be able to teach it. So those complex machines that you have to keep doing over and over. Now I'm going to do a furnace, but you know, I wouldn't waste on a furnace one. But there's those ones that's like, oh my gosh, if I have to make yet another solar power, you know, here you go. So I put in the schematic. I come over here and I tell it to the push of the button, set the crafting grid from the schematic. It's calling from the schematic that I have right there. Also, the nice thing about it is you can have ownerships. So like for me, I usually play with my kids and my brother, and the kids are always stealing from us, and I can set up ownership of this so that they wouldn't be able to access my inventory and things of that nature. Alright, I wanted to talk to you about the different tiers, like I said, of the machines. As far as the energy cells, here's your dynamos. Like I said, I type in thermal. It'll come up. We have our dynamos here. We also then have our energy cells and the different tiers of that. We have the different tiers of the portable tanks. We also have strong boxes, which can be picked up, and it keeps the material inside. And you'll notice there's an ownership. But let me show it to you real fast. Put it down. Put my stuff inside of it. Then I take my crescent. I can pick it back up. Walk it wherever I need. Set it down. And it's still there. The other thing I wanted to talk about quickly was the different types of conduits. There's a couple tiers of that. They now have item ducts that'll work for moving items as well as energy. Don't forget your favorite tesseracts are still in here for moving energy, items, and fluid throughout the world. And then we also have capacitors to be able to add the capacity to have tools using energy instead of being worn out. So for example, if you make those fun tools in Tinker's Construct, you can put a capacitor on it and have it run on energy, and using our infusion, energetic infuser, to recharge it. Alright, I'm going to wrap it there because I don't want this long. I want this a nice quick video. I may do a more detailed one later on, but thanks for watching. Bye-bye.